Hand off. Okay, welcome. It's good to be back. We missed today. 1 Timothy 6. All who are under the yoke of slavery should consider their masters worthy of full respect, so that God's name and our teaching may not be slandered. Those who have believing masters should not show them disrespect just because they are fellow believers. Instead, they should serve them even better because their masters are dear to them as fellow believers and are devoted to the welfare of their slaves. Okay, those phrases are pretty charged in the modern era. Masters and slaves.
Is this chapter 2?
1 Timothy 6. But you can just call bosses and employees. You see what I'm saying? It's just, in a certain way, there's probably, this might sound odd and I'm not trying to be weird, but some of those folks might have had better lives than the wage slaves of the modern era, because you had housing, food, etc. Not that I am an advocate of that at all. I'm just saying, think of it as bosses and employees. False teachers and the love of money. Verse 2. These are the things you are to teach and insist on. If anyone teaches otherwise and does not agree to the sound instruction of our Lord Jesus Christ and to godly teaching, they are conceited and understand nothing. They have an unhealthy interest in controversies and quarrels about words that result in envy, strife, malicious talk, evil suspicions, and constant friction between people of corrupt mind, who have been robbed of the truth and who think that godliness is a means to financial gain. That is a caution for professional Christians that make their living through the word. It's a caution. It just says, if anyone teaches anything other than what's in the Word of God. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Wow, that's probably one of the most famous verses in the Bible there. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Now, I imagine, I don't believe you really have to teach Christians to hate money that much. We Christians aren't the best in the world at making money. Worldly people seem to be much better at it, much more aggressive and determined, but we need to be somewhat careful about reading. It says, the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. So a lot of people say money is evil, but it's the love of money. Ironically, and this is how I try to think through it, is we need money for so many things. I believe, Marissa, were you giving Rachel money this morning? Is that why you were in?
No.
Oh, you know what? This cup is leaking. I noticed it yesterday, but for some reason you can't see the leak.
I'll get it.
Well, it's drip leaking.
Okay.
I don't know why. You cannot see the leak in that cup. Okay. So, um, so the thing is, what is the love of money point at? The heart issue, right? What is the condition of your heart when it comes to money? So, how do you know if you're plagued with the disease of the love of money? How do you know? Well, you girls wouldn't really know at the moment because you're not making much money. You depend on mom and dad for just about everything. And so, one sign though is how gracious you are. Are you gracious with money? And are you gracious with mom's money or with your own money? I mean, somebody took Trinity's birthday money, if I understand right, unless she found it and didn't think. Now, we can imagine we can imagine, interestingly enough, the person that might have accidentally taken it has excuses for it. And so the heart condition generally gives you excuses. Now, the thing about the love of money is you can easily be attacked by the enemy about it. If I like a dress for mom and she has a lot of dresses, then I must love money. Or if I trade stocks and I want them to succeed, I must love money. You see how it's just, everything is tied into money. The necklace I gave you this weekend is tied into a cost. We're planning on buying expensive insurance so that you girls can safely play soccer. I'm gonna write a bunch of bills for our monthly costs: home, auto insurance, cars. You get it? So the way I go to the Lord about it is I try to be clear of this love. How, Lord? And I ask the Lord, how is my heart, Lord, about money? I literally ask him. I was asking him last night because he said, we brought nothing into this world and we'll leave with nothing. For we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it, verse 7. But there are certain things that are delightful. If you get married, God willing, your parents are responsible for providing that wedding. That costs a lot of money. College costs money. I mean, everything costs money. And with inflation, it just goes up and up and up. So what a lot of people do is they divorce themselves from any interest in money. And they call that, I don't love money. Poorest people on earth can love money. The love of money. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a heart issue. What's your heart? Why do you think Mom and I are handing out cash with tracts? Any ideas besides being kind?
To not be like reliant on it and kind of like worship it and like be like it's okay.
Well, okay, I see you in a little. I'd say the money really helps us a lot. I mean, gets you food, gas, car, you get what I'm saying, clothing. And so we believe the money that God gives us is a gift from the Lord. I mean, so what are you trying to say? Handing out some cash tests our love of money. See, that's something you almost have to test yourself in. Now, being completely disinterested in money doesn't mean you don't love it. You might just have not had a chance to love it, is my guess, is my point. As a child, how are you going to know if you love money? I don't think you can. Do you, Riz?
Well, if you're stealing,
Yeah.
or you're dishonest. I mean, it says who's faithful in little will be faithful in much, and he's faithful in not.
So it's a weird quandary, because I think I remember Trin used to have money. Remember, it'd fall out of her pocket almost instantly.
Mm.
So she was so disengaged with it that she must not have loved it. How would she know? Because she lost it? So it's a hard issue. How do you search the things of your heart? How do you know if you're obedient to Christ? How do you know if you obey your parents joyfully? How do you serve your masters? How do you do your work unto the Lord? Your work as unto the Lord? How do you know if you're a Proverbs 31 woman? How do you know if you love money? It's a heart issue, is it not? How do you search your heart? You have to bring it before God. And so I find myself with money, because it's woven into so much of my life, our lives. I'm constantly bringing it before the Lord. Like, if it's a hard issue, and this is a hard issue, you have to bring it forward. And if you find yourself, Marissa hit one topic right after, if you steal it. Like, and I noticed you're generous with mom's money. So that's easy, right? It's your money. How do you know if you love it? Well, Lord, am I in love with, because the love of money, that's how it says, for the love of money. How do I know if I love it, Lord? I have to go before the Lord. And okay, so a hard issue, who you're gonna love if you're gonna obey your parents. Do you love money? Are you generous? Do you love the Lord? Do you wanna serve him? These are genuine heart issues. They're the issue of your heart. You have to learn how to go to the Lord about those things. And how do you go to the Lord about anything? Any ideas?
You ask him humbly
When?
in prayer
When?
after the Spirit convicts you.
That's a little late to the game. But
Well, before you're confused about, I mean, like, if you're confused at all, I feel like it should be like, well, you're not gonna start like asking.
okay, so you said, if you're confused, if you're convicted, then go to the Lord. I might suggest you go to the Lord in all things that are hard issues.
Mm-hmm.
And how often? One word.
Okay.
Continuously. Continuously. So, gosh, there's just so many things on life. Jealousy, fits of rage, lust, love of money. These are the things that will attack you continuously. Some of those are what we call, just commonly called spiritual warfare. You go to the Lord. How? In your quiet time. When? All day and all night. Especially in the time you go to bed and when you wake up. That's why I always talk. Well, let me rephrase it. I haven't. But well, no. I do a quick check. I call it. I don't even call it. I'm just gonna call it right now. A quick check at night. Lord, how do I have peace? I bought something the other day. I think I regretted it. And even then, I go like, Lord, is this okay? I wanted to be in agreement with you, but sometimes you make a decision. Let me give you an example. If you're super frugal Does that prove you don't love money? Tricky, isn't it? But if you were super frugal, you never really have to go to the Lord about purchases. We bought the land in front of the house for the sake of the peacefulness of it. Mom didn't see the need for it, right?
Mhm.
Now, Mom, on a scale from 0 to 100, what percent are you glad we bought it?
Like 100%.
You're perfectly, now you see it.
Mhm.
But you had to buy it. If you're super frugal, why would you buy something you're not using? So the point is, this love of money is a complex, and the enemy has his fingerprints all over this. He wants to convince you not to earn it because you might love it, not to get a promotion. You might love it, not to get an education. You might love it, not to help your husband make money. You might love it. So a lot of Christians will just divorce themselves from money, from the need to earn money, or to have money to give alms, or to tithe, or to be gracious. And all those things confuse me as well. So I have to go to the Lord continuously. Lord, we give money to missionaries regularly. Lord, how much? Who should we give money to? And so the things that we love, that we can love, I should suggest too, because it doesn't mean you know if you love it or not. You better learn to go to the Lord. Excuse me. Have you learned to go to the Lord?
Mm.
Really?
I feel like sometimes. Yes.
Yeah. How's that going?
Good.
Yeah? You got it all figured out then?
Not everything, though.
Not everything. Most things.
No, not even most things.
Some things.
Some.
You go to the Lord? See, let me tell you this. If you really genuinely learn how to go to the Lord, sorry, I just tripped all that water. If you genuinely learn, you should be able to tell me, literally, you should be able to literally tell me, I went to the Lord about X, and here's what he said. Now, let me tell you a little secret here when I say that. When you go to the Lord about something that's a heart issue, like money, the love of money, and you go to the Lord, are you guaranteed to understand the answer?
No, not automatically. Oh no. In general, you can get an answer and you don't know why, and you'll never know why.
It's just kind of true. Remember the years that we struggled?
Yeah.
So we, in a certain way, Mom and I were tested for 15 years. Yeah. We couldn't make a living. I mean, we really couldn't make a living. Like, we had to ask a mother-in-law for money level to pay the rent because we lost the house. In a way, we were tested, I would think. Wouldn't you? You were there.
Yeah.
And in that time, that's when we started up hot meals for homeless and fed the poor, 100 people a week with no money. We had no money. Do you ever wonder how did you feed 100 adults each Sunday with no money? Do you ever wonder? You didn't wonder? Trent's like,
Oh, yeah, I did.
you did wonder? Now you,
Yes, I did.
are you with us today, Trent?
Mhm.
You sure? Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. There's one of the more classic examples is MLM. Who knows what MLM means?
Money laundering?
Mom, a money laundering mom. That's really probably what it means.
I know.
I've heard of it.
Should we ask the teacher's pet for the answer? What is it?
Multi-level marketing.
Oh, never thought.
Paul Walker got caught in that when he first got saved. He really uses as a part of his testimony to look freedom from it. But that doesn't, what am I trying? Some of it I think is because it's being filmed, it's awkward to explain it. The love of money and how a lot of people think frugality is godliness. Because they say in their mind, I have divorced myself from the love of money. But people that are aggressively frugal can also be thinking about money all the time. A heart issue is something you tend to think about a lot. Now, because we provide almost all things for you, your thoughts is, I just wonder if I can get mom to get me those new sandals. Or those new boots. So you're not really thinking money, you're thinking mom, the bank of mom, B-O-M. The bank of mom. Have you ever banked at the bank of mom?
Bone.com.
Have you? And if it was dad, the bank of dad, it'd be bod. That's why they call it the dad bod. Boom, boom, boom. So you're probably, I can tell mom's not quite getting this, so this is why I'm working at it. Okay, babe. What was the solution that I gave?
To go to the Lord and to search your heart because it's a heart issue.
That was a good answer. What do you mean go to the Lord? So I'm a young daughter here. I don't understand what you mean go to the Lord. That sounds like Christian speak. How's your walk today? Has the Lord been speaking to you? These are new Christians. How are they going to know what that means? Go to the Lord. Like, do you go to the Lord store and go, hey, I'm at the Lord store. I wanted to go to the Lord. What does that mean?
To pray about it and see if you know, what the Lord gives you peace about and if there's like an answer from the Lord.
So, one thing she said, peace. You young ladies have heart issues all the time. Trust me. How do you know where to go? You go to the Lord in your prayer time, right? So that implies you have it. Prayer time. Doesn't have to be elaborate. You just talk to God in a dialogue. Secondly, let's say it's a real hard issue. Love of your life type stuff, which you're way too young for. You come to your parents. You know, I just get confused about this topic. As a husband, I often will seek counsel with Marissa. I mean, do you get that? Do you see that?
Yeah, or you're just talking through things to work out your...
Sometimes I have to hear my thoughts. I literally have to hear them out loud. I can't imagine I'm the only one because the enemy gets these thoughts in your head and you're like, well, which ones are mine and which ones are the enemy, which ones are God? So who do you go to sort those out?
The right place to go to is you.
I like the qualifier there. That's a careful speaker there. You were being careful, weren't you? Wait, Trin, who do you go to sort out your thoughts?
In my prayer time, Jesus, but you're a good proxy on earth, so.
And that's what Calais said? The right place with authority is dad, right? Is that what you just said? That's right? Rach? If you wanted to get clarity on your thoughts, where would you go on earth?
You.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh my God. So, do you do that? What?
No, not yet.
Trin?
Sometimes.
When?
I've been talking to you more about my thoughts.
You think so? Okay, Calais?
I think just a tad.
A tad.
But or like a little bit.
If we're all, what if you asked,
Yes,
we're running out of time here, but what if you asked your dad?
Yes, you would say just a little bit. You've been getting better, I feel like. Would I be wrong?
Better, yes. But let me put it this way. You're not coming to your father or mother in general, are you? I'll tell you what, when it's awkward to go to your parents, that's a hard issue right there. Why? Because the enemy himself loves you to keep it dark and to yourself. Am I right? Mm-hmm. And so you go, well, it's not just the love of anything. The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life conspire to wither the seed that grows up. The lust of the eyes, the lust of life, and the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. I would say the love of money is a type of lust. When you're young, you should seek counsel with your father. And when it's awkward, you should be able to say, well, Dad, this is delicate for me. And I don't want it to become heartburn, if you will. I want it to be something. Could you think through with me and pray with me about something? If it's a hard issue that you can't get perfect clarity on, or if you're stumbling about it, like FaceTime in your bedroom is not acceptable. You ever wonder why we don't date and that's starting to chaff at you? Talk to me. I'll be happy to go over as long as you need. So the point is, hard issues. If you don't seek counsel with your father, do you really think you will with your husband?
No.
And if you don't have the courage to come to your father, do you really think you're honestly bringing it to the Lord? That's your lesson. Amen.